Shake that tail feather. I see you in here, sweet Destiny Black. I see you, King D Young, up in the building. Miss T over here jamming. And thank you. He said, salute my baby. Happy Mother's Day. You think this is a great topic today? I got a little cooking before I let y'all in. I hope you had a great Mother's Day, Destiny. To all the Mother's Day folks, recipients out there, I hope y'all had a good day. I had a good one. I'm going to take a picture. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but I'm happy. I'm going to take a picture of the blanket my daughter had made for me with our pictures. My little darlings and me. Y'all come on in. Y'all come on in. Remember, I don't own the music to this. It's that homegrown music right there. We're going to take it to the pocket again. We're going to take it to the pocket. Hit that pocket, nigga. Hit that pocket. What? What? I see you, Tay. I see you, Prince. He said, salute to Bibble for stopping the hype machine for a while. Indeed. Oh, this dude is in the pocket. What? Y'all don't forget to hit that like button. I come on Monday through Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. As usual, I don't have my phone lines up. I'm going to put it up. Give me a second. Okay, hold on tight. Ricky Williams is in the building. I see you, King. So look, welcome. This was an awesome weekend. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna hide my excitement. I was happy. But I'm gonna get through this little cooking I'm gonna do. Then I'm gonna drop the link. But you know what? So much for humility. Because, I mean, I guess the time it takes to have your post interview in the ring to when you make it to the locker room and take a shower and then make it to the post press conference is about all the time that Canelo took to have some humility. And then here come the excuses. I'm not with the excuses. Tay said, I see too many people hating on Bivol just because they didn't do they HW. Bivol was a good fighter and was a style mismatch. I said on another show that Canelo by robbery. I mean, Canelo goes in with a slight advantage all the time. I ain't even say slight. Slight is being nice. Ricky Williams said, what's good, Miss T? Smash that like button. Indeed, indeed. Do it for Ricky. Do it for Ricky. Tay said, but luckily they did the right thing and gave Bivol the nod. I mean, you couldn't help it, but they have to make it close. I mean, you see this all the time with Canelo. I think for real, a lot of people who don't like him, this is why he gets this unfair advantage or favor, and before he can earn his keep. And I'm gonna break things down how I see it, but I'm gonna explain why I see things the way I see things. You guys can feel how you want to feel, and that's okay. Because everybody, oh, you said homework before they did their homework. Okay, I got you, King. So Canelo makes it to the locker room, take a shower, go to his post press conference. And then he started making excuses. After all, I mean, I didn't think he was gonna do it because I was like, okay, I'm cool with what you said at the end of the fight in the ring. But I guess you couldn't hold no water. You couldn't help yourself. He said he feels that he won. This is Canelo saying he feels that he won. He gave 4 rounds to Bivol. How mighty white of you. That's how I'm gonna say. How mighty white of you. You gave 4 rounds to Bivol, okay? But you're not white. I'm just, playing on his what is it, complexion for the protection. He gives Bivol 4 rounds. And then he said he think he might have been, too heavy. Excuses, excuses, excuses. This is why I say catching favor for superficial reasons is not a good thing, you guys. It's not a good thing. It makes you lose grip on reality. You gain a sense of entitlement. And he wants his advantage of 4 to 6 rounds up by before the bell even ring. Even if it's 2 rounds up, he wants those advantages. He doesn't repel against them. A person who don't take advantage of their favor that they get for superficial reasons. I mean, I'm not gonna get into the racist stuff because I don't think I don't know if I don't know what type of racist he is, but I sense that about him a little. Not enough for me to care because if you don't like me because of my race, I don't care. You just stay away from me. I stay away from you, and we cool. But he can y'all hear me? First of all, I had this damn thing up. My bad. I hope y'all heard me. Did y'all hear anything I said? Let me know in the chat. Because I don't want to have to go back. It's a lot that I want to say, and I don't want to have to repeat. But yeah, this is why I say giving somebody a favor for superficial. It's not practical. You setting that person up for the fail, and when they fall, they're gonna fall hard. You know what I'm saying? He likes his advantages. He doesn't repel against them. But I tend to think when I asked the question in the beginning, I said, was he exposed? Is he cherry picking, or does he just move funny? And for me, I'm gonna put it under the umbrella of just moving funny. I start off broad and I narrow down and get more specific. That's how I like to look at things. Kind of like how I write a paper. Andrew Charles is in the building. He said, "Salute, Miss T. I heard you. What's poppin', King? Salute to you." So my answer to that question is he just moves funny. And the thing is, how you start your career is how you do your career and how you end your career. He's always moved funny, you guys. you know, I haven't coached in a while, and most of the time I coach children. When you look at somebody and you trying to pick a weight when it comes to boxing, you got to be realistic. Not everybody will be able to drop a lot of weight. Meaning, if you come in looking like you walk around close to 200 pounds, no boxing coach in their right mind gonna say, "Yeah, you should be 147." They're not gonna say that because it's unrealistic. You're setting that person up to get hurt seriously. And contrary to what a lot of people think, even though these are warriors and they go to war in that ring, nobody is going in there with the mindset that I want to kill this nigga. You know, you are never the same. I don't know if any of you guys have ever met somebody who actually killed somebody in the ring. I have and known him well. It was a friend of my mom's. He was never the same. He never lived up to his full potential. A very handsome man. He fell off in life. He was content to just, barely make it. I mean, this man could have been anything, but he killed somebody earlier in his career before he could get it started, and he just couldn't come back from that. You understand? So I'm just saying, why be unrealistic like that and set people up for the fail? And I do believe the way Canelo's body and his disposition, 147 wasn't what I would have put him in, but he made an outlier out of some folks' mentality or their thought patterns because he was one of a few people who can get down to that weight and don't be like drained. Y'all remember not that long ago, Munguia fainted at the weigh-ins. Canelo, he seemed like he could get down and he's all right, and then he performs well. Of course, you running through 147s. But if they would have done right, I think by saying something like you're close to 200 pounds, you walk around 190 or whatever, maybe you should fight at between 160, 168, maybe at 175. How big of a star would Canelo have been now? Because one thing about Canelo, as I always say, and don't get me wrong, just because you have weight issues or stamina issues and all that, it doesn't mean you're not a good fighter. Canelo is awesome from the waist up. Just sucks from the waist down. You know why? Because his real disposition, his body's real disposition is that of a bigger man. Now he gonna drop to 147, and just because you're 147, you're gonna move like a little guy? No. Them legs is moving like the weight you should have been. The bigger you get, the slower you move. You don't move like the little guys. But he was, like I said, he was one of those people who could drop to that weight, and that served him well. But when I say he moves funny, this is how I couch it. Okay. Tay said, yes, we can hear. Andrew says, salute, Miss T. I heard you. Okay, I got y'all. So here's the umbrella. He moves funny. Under the umbrella is his strategy, and it's the leverage and the advantages that he wants. Now, if you keep going down the list and get narrower and narrower and narrower, eventually you will arrive at the word cherry picking. Me personally, I don't like to throw them words around, and I don't like to throw ducking around so liberally. So I kind of like try to hold off until it's so oblivious or whatever. He's a strategist, always have been. There's nothing illegal about that. It's really nothing illegal about that. He can be a strategist. But when you enter the realm of exclusion, can you be great? You can't be great in my book. Because last time I checked, boxing was for any and everybody who wants to get in. Now, I know a lot of people talk about how he avoids black fighters. I think in the beginning of your career, you don't have that much leverage. So you got to do what you got to do. You got to face a whole lot of people. But the statement that I'm going to focus on is when he said, I'm not fighting no more Mexicans. Why? Nobody took him to task for that? Imagine, just close your eyes and think of a black fighter who's popular or not, or is on their way up, and they say, I'm not fighting any black fighters. You're going to be like, come again? I'm not fighting any black fighters or Mexican fighters. Then what the fuck are you here for? You know what I'm saying? You're now excluding people. So you basically saying, I'm better at this game only if XYZ. Once you do that, you have forfeited your right to call yourself great or be put on a pedestal. And that's the problem in boxing that we find ourselves in, because we are pedalizing folks before their time. I'm going to give you another example. Devin Haney. Now, I say this all the time, but people think, when they hear me say Devin Haney, they think I don't like him. I love this guy. I like Devin Haney. I root for him all the time, but I refuse to pedalize him before his time. Okay, Devin Haney is an awesome boxer. He boxes like he's been doing it 10 years already, professionally. And he has it. And he's young in the game. So can you imagine when he's, what he is, 23 now? When he's 33. Imagine what this dude gonna be like. Because if you consistently do something, you consistently get better at it, right? So I say that, and it's true when I say I haven't seen him go through any adversity. So I can't tell, do he have to dig in deep? What would he do if he had to? Could he come back from being down? We don't know, because we haven't seen it. Part of the reason why we're not seeing it, he had a lot of people avoiding him. That's not his fault, but it is the reality. So until we see that, what can we say? I'm not going to penalize him. He's already doing a lot of good stuff. He's taking a big sacrifice early in his career, not to me making a boss move, but taking a huge sacrifice to get at what he wants. I can't be mad at no fighter who wants the championship, who wants to be unified, who wants to be undisputed. That's what we here for as fans. That's what we want to see. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Lean on that leads when you step in the heezy. Come on. Step on that like button when you step in my square circle. Hook a sister up. Because y'all come in and y'all come out. Just hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, go on and do that too. Ricky said, how are you daring to be great when you fought at 175 already? Just a question. That's a good question, Ricky. But these are the narratives that people want to put out. I don't even concentrate on that. He's going up for a belt. But I was wondering, how come everybody else got to drop their belts when they go to the next weight division in the men's boxing? Because, if you think about it, it's a lot more men, a lot more opponents than women. So I see, I don't really ask that question in the woman's side, because we know that Clarissa was undisputed in 2 different weight classes at the same time. So I'm just saying, I don't know if that can be done with men. I'm not going to be mad about it or talk bad about it or talk down about it. That was just a question I had. Like, I thought when you be moving up and going to different weight classes, you got to drop, because you can't hold up the line. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't know. That's a good question, though. He was up there before. He beat Kovalev, and then he going back up there again. But he's saying things like, I'm going to go for the cruiserweight. Makabu wasn't a great challenge. If he's going to fight Usyk, that's something. You know what I'm saying? If he turn around and say, I want heavyweight, then, fight a real heavyweight. That's something. But there's weight classes for a reason. It really is for a good reason. And so when you find somebody who's moving up and down in weight, for me, I'd rather be able to look at the weight that you're coming from and say, there ain't really nothing you can do there. You done did everything. You done faced everyone. So I ain't mad at you, bro. Go ahead on up. You done did all you could do for God and country in that weight division. If I can't say that, then I'm like, all that shit about like going up and down. That goes for everybody. Bud to everybody. Maceo Golden is in the building. What's poppin', King? Said, hello, Lady T. How was your day? It was very good. Very good. Tay said, no, you can. Tay said, Floyd did it. I think you can retain your belts, but that lower belt cannot be on the line. With Tay, Floyd never was undisputed. Floyd dropped belts too. I'm saying he's undisputed. There's a whole division that's held up waiting on him. We don't know what he's gonna do. He doesn't seem like he want to defend his belts in that weight, and that's just saying he don't seem like it right now. It don't mean that he's not. He never said that he don't want to defend it. I'm just saying with it, just looking at it right now, I can't tell if he wants to defend at 168, but he has those belts. So I didn't know that you can go up to other, divisions trying to gain belts and still maintain your other belts, especially in men boxing, because there's so many more opponents. It's not like it's a few people, so we can wait it out. It's like you're holding up the line. Those guys behind you in your division in 168, they want them belts too. So they got to wait for you to go up to 175, get a belt. And if he was successful, let's kick it. He was going to go for the other belts. But I didn't know you could do that. Tay said he said he wants to fight Bivol at 168. I think Bivol will beat his ass there too. I think it's the person. Canelo, and let me just be clear, Canelo lost the fight because he fought a more complete boxer. This is again how I prove when I say a complete fighter, a complete boxer can beat any type of boxer as long as they don't give up and they stand the test of time. They stay there. Bivol could not be moved. He could not be deterred. He was not backing down. He stood his ground on a lot of times. He fought in the pocket. The couple of times that he was against the ropes, he got right up off him. Canelo tired out. Another thing I do not like is when you give a black eye to something, innocent bystanders, and not necessarily people all the time, but vegan. Oh, he's vegan and this is why he lost. Really, y'all gonna put a black eye on veganism? Veganism has nothing to do with why he lost. Unless some kind of way it cross-pollinated into Bivol's hands and made him have super pellet hands. Veganism doesn't have anything to do with why Canelo lost. In fact, veganism should have helped him. It should have improved. If anybody has ever been vegan for a long stretch of time, just try it for 1 month. I have done that. All I can tell you guys to do, try it for 1 month and tell me again and tell yourself, how can veganism deter him from winning? It should have helped, because that's about the only thing he could do extra to increase his stamina. That's the only thing. And you can't be a vegan and taking all this extracurricular. Like, you can't be on banned substance being a vegan, because then you're not a vegan. You can't be a vegan and then, drinking milk or, eating eggs here and there and all, because then you're not a vegan. The benefits of being a vegan, you won't see it unless you completely go vegan. So if he been a vegan, and I ain't for sure, I heard he was a vegan for the last 4 years. So if that's the case, then how do you use his veganism as a blame? All you did is made veganism look bad. I'm sure those vegans out there is like, don't put that shit up on us. You lost because that's your motherfucking ass. You need to learn how to move your feet. And when I was coaching boxing, I haven't in a while, but we coach children or whatever. The first thing, and adults, but mostly, I concentrated with the children. The one thing about boxing, the main ingredient is footwork and leg work. If you don't have it, any coach in their right mind would be like, nah, this ain't for you. This ain't for you. You would think it's more so your hands, how you slip, how you feint. No, it's your feet and your legs. If you don't have it, trust you me, you cannot be a great boxer. You cannot be. You can get in there, but you might get hurt. Boxing is not a sport you play. It's a sport you do. So let's get that straight. Canelo don't have footwork. He doesn't have leg work. Never have. But he feels he has things to overcompensate that. See, like when so Canelo walking around 190, let's say I just met him, he's a young kid. I'm gonna be like, you should fight between no less than 160, 168, maybe 175. You put him in there, you're trying to, train him or whatever. He's going to move leg wise like a person that size. What makes Tyson Fury great, or what makes Muhammad Ali great, because they move like they were little guys, which is unheard of or rare for people that big. Canelo moves like a big guy with his legs. But then to overcompensate, that type of shit, he went down to smaller weights classes. That's the strategy in him. Because yeah, I might move slow. From the waist down, I might not be the greatest. But when I hit these little niggas with my power, I'm gonna run them the hell up out of there. That's how I'm gonna get my advantage or leverage. He strategizes in a way that gives him leverage and advantage. Again, how does that make you a great fighter? For me, it cannot. It don't mean you're not an excellent fighter, but you can never be a great one when that's your strategy. Because if like, let's say you're a young kid, you want to get into boxing, you're choosing that as a career, you're gonna say, I want to be champion. Well, on your way to championships, you're gonna have to walk that path where you can see any type of fighter, any kind of style, tall, short, big, whatever, pressure fighter, whatever. You're gonna see everything. You can't stand up there and then say, you know what, I'm gonna actually be good if I exclude this and I exclude that. At that point, when you start doing exclusion, whether it's I'm never fighting no Mexicans, or I'm only fighting people that's stationary, you forfeit the right to be a great one. That's why I feel the way I feel about Canelo. I don't hate him. The clenbuterol thing fucked me up all the way. So I can't never really get into him. I'm sure he's a decent guy. I don't hate him. I give him his props from the waist up. He's very good. And you can tell he learned something from Mayweather. Because after Mayweather, he feinted more. He moved his head off the line. He moved around. But them legs, all you got to do is be able to move. Canelo needs a stationary target for him to be great, for him to shine. That's not being all-time great. Floyd, if you can sit here and tell me what did he need specifically out of whatever fighter he fought for him to be great, I'll sit here and wait. You ain't gonna be able to tell me, because Floyd faced them all and he outshined and figured. He said, I know how to make adjustments and I know how to win. I mean, I can do everything great. And what Floyd used to say, if you slip it in any department, you must pay. You don't want to be in there with me. No more 175. And Canelo need to get Usyk out his head too. Same Bivol is bad style matchup. Maceo said, laugh out loud. I heard someone said that he lost because he had on pink trunks. Now Canelo looked nice with them trunks. Now I ain't gonna lie, that hot pink was popping. Shout out to, I was saying that whole night. I was like, shit, them shoes and everything. He made pink look good now, Maceo. Sensory Pictures is in the building with Poppin' King. He said, you are more than right. That's exactly what being a great is all about. You start throwing the exclusion factor in, you'd have forfeited that. So my answer is that he moved funny. And if you go back to the beginning of his career, he's always been a bigger guy. I ain't gonna say he was 200, but maybe he was 188, 193 or something like that. You don't look at somebody like that and say, 147 is perfect for you. That is not the conclusion you make. At best, at the smallest, you'll say 160. But 160, 168, 175, that is what you will probably choose. We got people that come in the gym that be like 123, young men that's 19 and 20 years old. And we be like, oh, you should go down to 118. We still make them lose weight, but we be realistic with it. You know what I'm saying? We be realistic with it. So that's my answer. It's just he moved funny, and we saw that in the beginning of his career by him even going to 147. We know because think about Trout, Mayweather, and Lara. They exposed him, even though he beat the brakes off of Trout because he caught him. He caught him real good. But Trout outboxed him a little bit for a while. We know Mayweather watched him, and we know Lara watched him too. And I can say watched. Lara outpunted him. He beat him fair and square. But here we go with the favor. Why does Canelo catch the favor? Is it his fault? No, it's not his fault. I'm not going to go so far to say that. It ain't his fault. You are perfect the way God made you or the way your parents made you. So it ain't your fault. But society has a way of putting stuff on people that take them out of reality. And that complexion for the protection, for the collection is real. So that's what Canelo has. And as I gave you a list of entitlements, it makes you have a loose grip on reality. It gives you a sense of entitlement. And you begin to expect, your leverages, the 4 or 2 or 3 rounds that you're already up before the first bell rang. Because I heard on the scorecards they gave Canelo the first 4 rounds. In what motherfucking world? Every one of us saw that fight. In what world did Canelo have them first 4 rounds? But hey, that favor is a motherfucker, ain't it? We know that he can't handle more complete fighters. And better yet, he knows this. So like I said, let's just go with the moving fund under the umbrella. I broke it down and I narrowed it down. Now, if you get to cherry picking, that's fine. I'm not arguing with you. I ain't gonna argue with you on that because that's what you see. Because when you're strategic, you are picking. You are picking. You're just not going with the flow. Okay, this person is number 6 and I'm number 8 or I'm number 7. So I need to face number 6. Knock him out the way. Let me get to number 5. Knock him out the way. Let me get, and so forth and so on. He's not doing that. That's why people are probably looking at him like he's cherry picking. And again, I ain't really got no argument for you. But for me, I don't like to throw those words out liberally. I know sometimes I say it, somebody duck or this person duck, and y'all probably think that I'm throwing it out liberally, but I'm not. It takes me a minute to get to that point because it's not always the case. Is it legal for him to strategize? Of course. If you could drop 40, 50 pounds to get to 147 and fight and don't be drained and do well, wouldn't you do it? I'm going to be mad at him for something that anybody and everybody want to do and could and would do if they could. No, I ain't getting mad at him. In life, all of us, we do things to give ourselves a leverage or an advantage, whether it was intimate relationships, jobs, or whatever. We all do it. So I'm going to be mad at him for that? No. But I will not penalize him. That's where the rubber meets the road. I will not penalize him. And that's what a lot of people do. And he's grown accustomed to it. No more different than, for y'all fellas out there. I know y'all into the badonkas, right? So some girls, you give big passes. I mean, I could know a guy for 15 years and this nigga could rattle off. We could just be friends. And I would never let a bitch do this. And I would never let. And then some girl with a big old badonka come by and everything he will never has now gone out the window. Because you penalizing that shit. Now you can say, Miss T, you don't understand. I don't understand. Either you about that shit or you not. You putting superficial things above your morals, your integrity, or whatever. That's what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Those judges that giving him a leg up, they putting superficial reason because they want a cake for him. They want the narrative to be that he is the greatest fighter ever. And he's not. He's not. Devontae Booker says, speak it, Auntie. I hear you. Welcome to the building, King. He's not. And I'm not doing him a disservice by saying I can't penalize him. I just can't. But I'm going to say is he moves funny. Strategic, leverage, avoidance. He catches favor. He knows he catching favor. Or don't he? I'm going to say he knows. And then he's coasting as he earns his privileges. Y'all don't think he do. That probably went over some folks' head. He's coasting as he earned his privileges. Mayweather had to earn his keep, earn his mark. And then after that, he could coast. Canelo, as he's going along, he's earning his privileges and he's making his mark. But he's got his privileges at the same time. Like, I don't know if y'all get what I'm trying to say. And like I said, weight limits for a reason. So the reasons why you want to have these weight limits: safety of the fighters, that goes without saying. Health reasons, overall longevity. Okay, you have a shelf life in boxing. You're gonna have to go on to be a father. Look how many kids he got. Don't you want to play ball with your son? I mean, it's more than life than just this boxing career. This shit is a short time in your life. You know, why would people purposely want to do stuff that's gonna cause them damage in the long run? You know what I'm saying? You happy now, but you won't be happy later. Why not just be happy through the duration? If you gave it all you got, then you gave it all you got. If he has a problem with stamina, and that's really not much he can do. Now, either Canelo isn't doing the work that he said he was doing, or that's just his Achilles heel. You know what I'm saying? If that's his Achilles heel, it's nothing really much he can do. He can only go but so far, but that's what makes the sport even better. Because it's like, can you push through it? This is what we mean by, can you dig deep? Can you get past it? You know what I'm saying? The probability of death. You don't want to fuck around, because your motherfucking ass can die in there. It don't just fuck you up and your family and people who love you. The fighter who fights you fucks them up their whole career and their family. We got to get out this mindset that that's what these fighters want to do, kill each other, because they don't. And like I said, there's a group of people out there, they back off. They be living in obscurity. They don't want to they don't want nobody to know them. They walk around with shame. And they never live to the full potential of their life. I saw that firsthand with my own eyes. I know this man could have been great, but he couldn't do it, because he took another man's life and he couldn't get over that shit. And this is a man who was a Marine, also went to Vietnam, all that shit. But killing the dude in the boxing ring got to him. Sensory Picture says she on fire. Tay said, IMO Floyd is the best ever, based on skill and IQ. Indeed. He said Canelo not on that level. He never was. And you say, I get it. You know, remember now, Canelo was WBO champion at 175. He was. And everybody, there's controversy with that. Did Kovalev let him win? I don't know. I don't even get into that. He went up there. He was strategic in picking this man for whatever reason. Maybe because this is his way to answer the controversy why he ain't fighting Ward. I don't know. But let me tell y'all too, a lot of people give Canelo praise for nothing. Like for what I wouldn't give praise, because I don't know if y'all seen it like this, but you remember in the pandemic, Canelo's supposed to have fought 4 times. And you know, just in the last few years, he's fighting all the time. With this is what we be screaming. Why y'all fighting twice? Who the fuck think they Mayweather? Mayweather had to get to that point in his life where he could just fight twice a year. Maybe for his age, that was the degradation that he had in him, where he couldn't fight a lot. If you go back to Mayweather when he was Pretty Boy, he was fighting once a month for 2.5 years or so, or twice a month. Mayweather was back to back to back to back to back to back fighting. But you can do that when you're young. Father Time don't wait for nobody. So maybe that's why Mayweather picked the twice a year, just to stay just enough to stay relevant, and to look and still maintain that he got the goods, right? So now everybody act like that's the way to be, and it's not. You can fight a lot of times, so we give Canelo a lot of credit. Or you can be a nigga like me that look at it like it's not a bad thing. I mean, he doing essentially what we want fighters to do: fight more and fight often. But you know what I saw? I saw a dude saving face. I saw a dude doing damage control. Because it seemed like to me, and maybe I'm wrong, because this is me speculating, y'all. This ain't no fact. He never said it. I ain't get it from no article. So when you speculate, you should be able to say it. You should be grown enough to say, I guess, instead of some of these folks out here with these channels that be acting like it's gospel. I'll tell you when mine is guessing. And this is a guess. He got popped for the computer, all right. They come back and they exonerate him later, right? He never really had he never really was held accountable because he was only gonna fight twice that year anyway, right? So then all of a sudden Canelo is fighting 4 times a year. Well, if you're fighting 4 times a year, and if everybody thinking everybody's doing the drug test, this, that, and the other, how you gonna cheat? Because you're always in the process of getting a drug test. But the truth of the matter is, you ain't really doing a lot of drug tests. You're not really doing it. Hey, if the crowd or the people or the fans think that you are, oh well. But you're fighting 4 times a year. Okay. Doesn't that give you an illusion like you serious about your shit? You're not taking no, Clenbuterol. You're in it to win it, and it's gonna take the glow and the shine off of the fact that you did Clenbuterol, because now you're doing stuff that people want you to do. And then we got the narrative daring to be great. Again, how do you get that stain off you? By doing something great. Y'all don't see that? I know some people can say it's a stretch. I used to do it all the time in the Navy. Let me tell you, when I was sick with cancer, I didn't even know I had cancer. I was weak as a bitch. I couldn't run. I used to run a half. We had to do a mile and a half, and I could do half of that in like 2 minutes. Ah, man, young, gone, right? But then on the way back, you're struggling, you take your time, but you still make it, right? And then out the blue, a nigga started being real tired. And I didn't know why. And half the time I would faint on the runs, right? So now everything in the military is about your exercise progress. You got to be able to do the runs and push-ups and sit-ups and this. And so I suck now at that. So where did I try to shine? I knew my job like the back of my hand, eyes closed. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure I was the go-to. Motherfucker don't even have to ask me the question. I'm telling the answer. And they have to look at me and be like, bitch, I ain't talking to you. I don't give a fuck. I told you. Then, now you know what you're going to do? You're going to look at me like, even though this bitch can't run for shit, she the go-to on this one. We need her on our team because we winning when we got her. You see what I'm saying? It's a deflection. That might have went over some folks' head. I'm going to move on. But that's what I see. That's the only increase. And I don't have the dates in front of me, but you guys can do the research. Go pull up his box rec, because we know that he got caught with the Clenbuterol around the time he was fighting Triple G. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, but go look and see. And then look at what he was doing before, because Floyd Mayweather said, Canelo is such a star, Oscar. He's such a star. He's always fighting on my undercard, but he's such a star, Oscar. Remember when Floyd said that? And last time I checked, Floyd was fighting twice a year. So go look at his box rec and see. I'm going to let y'all do that. Go look and see if he was fighting twice a year into a certain time, and then boom, he's fighting all the goddamn time. Deflection. And a lot of people fell for it. I didn't. So, like I said, he coasting as he earns his privileges. Safety of the fighter, health reasons, longevity, the death probability. It's a young person's sport. It's a young person's sport. If you getting into this thinking you're gonna be an old man trying to do this, or an old woman, nah, bruh, no. Mayweather had to make his mark and earn his keep before he could coast. Canelo did not have to do that. Now, is it all Canelo's fault? No. So let me be clear with that. No, it's not all his fault. He got the complexion for the protection of the collection. He was given this world. He didn't make it in my Tupac voice. That's how he came to this world. That's this world's problem. That's what we do collectively in this world. We put people on pedestals. Y'all see how Mexicans, not all of them, so any Mexicans listening, I'm not talking about all of y'all. It's not absolute. But a lot of y'all think y'all white. And a lot of y'all walk around and act like you the better of the white men. You're not white. Go back and watch how, what's his name? Mikey Garcia called himself trying to prove a point by putting out his doctor record, trying to show something or whatever. And the one thing I caught on it, nigga, will you call yourself white? You are anything but white. And I give Canelo this. He proud to be a Mexican. He proud of his heritage. He date his own woman. He see the beauty in his race. You can't do nothing but respect that. I respect it when white people do it, black people, Indian, Asians, whatever. If you can't see the beauty in your own race, something wrong with you. I'm going to get off that soapbox. So Canelo is coasting as he's earning his keep, not earn his keep and make his mark and then coast. Oscar De La Hoya fought, when Floyd fought him, he made his mark. He earned his privilege. He still had to prove himself, though. Remember, Floyd still had to prove himself. He was making statements like, you line him up, I knock him down. You might as well call me the golden boy because I done beat everybody on your squad. Remember that shit? So Bob, when Floyd was pretty boy, was throwing the kitchen sink at his ass. Y'all think that was what Floyd was asking? Floyd was getting them hard fights right off the rip. You don't think that they wanted to derail that nigga before he could start? They knew he was good, but Bob's whole plan is, let me corral these niggas so I can control them so that they don't derail who I want to prop up. Because if he don't corral them and he propping up this dude, Joe Smuckatelli, and then hit up Floyd and knock him down, Bob ain't gonna never get his feet off the ground, right? That's strategy, right? Okay, so you might as well call me the golden boy. That's what Floyd said. Like I said, he had the kitchen sink thrown at him. And then when he proved himself, because if you go back and look at some of his fights and listen to Emmanuel Stewart, where we can all agree that Emmanuel Stewart was one of the best boxing trained and the person who's a go-to, the GOAT, who knows boxing. Look at how he talked about Floyd. Look at what he said Floyd could do. And everybody knew it. Everybody agreed. Now, later in life, Oscar took up the mantle that they was doing the pretty boy in the beginning, trying to line up everybody he can to dethrone Floyd. And as Floyd said, you line them up, I knock them down. Floyd ain't never had it easy, not to me. What they meant for bad, God turned for good for him. Remember, what God had for Floyd is what God had for Floyd. And Floyd even said that about Canelo, no special effects. And it's not. If you don't have legs and feet movement in boxing, you can be beaten at any time. How many fights we got to look at before we can say, yeah, that's the truth? Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevens, again, another one. That's why I like what Shakur said. I beat your whole team, Canelo and Reynoso and Oscar. So I asked, when did this happen for Canelo? When did he make his mark to the point where he could just coast? Now, if y'all weren't paying attention, Canelo has already put out that he's got 6 or 7 fights left and he's done. I don't know if y'all paid attention. First, I'll try to deny Floyd, then Oscar. You think Floyd got Nico Walsh treatment? Look at how they treat Nico. They spoon feeding this dude. Nico Walsh and Keyshawn Davis got the same amount of professional fights. Nico still fighting 4 rounders. Come on, bro. Out of Floyd, Canelo, and those guys, who got the kitchen sink thrown at him? Floyd. Who getting baby treated? Nico. Who getting penalized? Canelo. Who got to earn that keep too? Keyshawn. They didn't treat Canelo like that, like they do Nico neither. So I'm giving him his props. Canelo, what I will say, he's always earned his opportunities, because when it was time to do what it do, he got up there and he did it. He put the hard work in the beginning. He feel like now he can coast. And maybe he really do genuinely feel that way because he started at 15 in Mexico being a professional fighter. He got 15 years on the books, which is more than a lot of other professional fighters do. And he's tired, He walk around, like I said, close to 200. He should have never been at 147. I would never have put them down. I say he moved funny. Why? Because he looks for leverages and advantages. That's his strategy. If you want to narrow it down more and say cherry pick it, to each his own. I haven't got there yet. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying the dude is a strategist. And you can't, when you get into the realm of exclusion, I'm not fighting Mexican fighters. I'm not fighting, he avoids real boxers, in my opinion. I'm not fighting these guys or whatever. And people's like, well, he got a right to. Based on what? He got a right to. Okay. You know, who would advise that, and how rare is it that a person can go that far down in their weight? But I'm done cooking. But that's all I had to say. I had to get that off my chest because that's what I see. That's what I feel. Thank you. Listen, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. But I know people want to get over here and cook, and I will sit back and listen. So if that's what you want to do, I got the phone lines open too. So if you want to call in, you can call in. But that's what I saw. And anybody got something they want to say to it, go ahead, jump in or whatever. I put that link in that chat. But yeah, it was an amazing fight. Bivol did his thing. Um, I was yelling. I was watching the fight, y'all. Hopefully I can get this Showtime on this TV I got next to my computer now. If I am, I'm gonna be here for that Charlo joint. Y'all can watch with me. Watch with me. Now, Miss T act a little crazy when she watching boxing, so I apologize ahead of time sometimes. But yeah, because I'll be into it. But yeah, Bivol, would I say his arm hurt? It probably did, but he ain't gonna show you that. And he walking around at little parties and he moving his arm and stuff. Bivol is naturally a big guy. That's what I mean. Like, look, they asked him recently, can he make 168? He said, yeah. So yeah, I can make it. He's naturally a big guy, right? So he may even go fight him at 168. But can we honestly say, the question is, can you honestly say that Canelo cleaned out 168 division? I can't say it. D Young is in the building. What's popping, King?
What's good with you, Miss T? How you doing?
I'm
How was your
good.
Mother's Day?
Thank you. And happy
Oh,
Mother's Day to the women in your family.
appreciate you. Yeah, I hear you over here cooking, man. I was just listening to you, going back in time, talking about how Floyd had it tough. You know what I mean? Which the Pretty Boy version did, but nonetheless, with Canelo, man, it's like I'm a Canelo fan. I ain't gonna
You good? Hold on.
for
You kind of broke up. I want you to go ahead
it's
and
that
repeat it.
style that he didn't. You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. But
Okay, yeah. Now I was just saying, just about the Canelo. You know, I like Canelo. I'm not gonna sit in cap for him. It's just that style he went up against with Bivol. It was just a bad style matchup. You know, style make fights, and when you got to move your feet, that's the best way to beat Canelo is when you box. And it's certain guys that he didn't want to fight, like Andre. You know, that he was gonna have trouble with because Andre is a mover and he's slick.
that's true. Now, was there ever any talk? Because I don't remember. Refresh my memory. Was there any talk back in the day of him possibly facing Ward?
Nah, because I think Dre was bigger than him at the time. It was
Okay.
Dre was more with Triple G than Canelo.
Okay. So yeah. So and I'm not gonna say Andre fights exactly like Dre, but there's some similarities sometimes. Just the way they lean and how they
Yeah,
hold
yeah,
their body.
yeah.
You
Body
know?
type, the length. But it's like, and Andre is a southpaw. It ain't, and, I don't care what style you is. It's not easy to look good against a southpaw.
That's
So
true. That's true. But that lean, because I was like, Canelo's strategy seemed to be for me, hit the arms and make you drop your arms, and then I'm gonna go to your face and your body. I'm gonna tear you up. It seemed
yeah,
to me he has to have a stationary target. Is
exactly.
that has he improved in your opinion from the beginning? Because I can go back to 147 and be like, to me, he always been that way.
Well, I could say he has improved. His defense has definitely improved. I mean, some of the shots Bivol was hitting him with, he rolled him. I mean, you saw the head movement. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
did
I
see
mean,
that.
he's improved in some aspects. It's just the aspect of that we want him to improve in is that we want him to move his feet more. Don't get frustrated whenever you can't get your way, like Jamel Charlo, which I'm ready to see this shit Saturday. But anyways, you can't get frustrated, and Canelo got real frustrated. And I saw that not in just that fight, but he also got frustrated in the Caleb Plant fight.
He
But he
sure
also
did.
he got frustrated real bad against Billy Joe when Billy Joe was moving on him, and he was, and that's what I said. That's what I said. I was like, the night before, I was like, man, I got Canelo winning by knockout, but if Bivol studied those 3 tapes with Kovalev, Plant, and Billy Joe, he got a chance to win. And not only that, he a big guy, and it was always a foreclosure thing that if he could keep Canelo off his ass, he can win the fight.
Now, do you think when he fought Kovalev, are you one of those people that think he took a dive? If you did, I don't, ain't a biggie to
Well,
me, but
I mean, far as the dive, I'm not gonna say that, but he did put clauses on Kovalev. You know what I mean? Just like he put clauses on Bivol and everybody else. So, I mean, if that's what you want to call taking a dive, then I guess I'll roll with that. But, you know,
do you
and
call
then
it
not to
more
mention,
strategy?
and then not to mention Kovalev. I don't know how long ago. I don't know how long it was after he fought Yard, but he had just had a big clash with Anthony Yard. So,
Yeah.
you
Remember
know,
that other guy who fought Kovalev and beat him? He
Alvarez,
yeah,
Aleta Alvarez knocked him out.
right. That motherfucker, where he at?
I don't know. I don't know where Alvarez at, but yeah, he was a nice little fighter.
Now, do you agree or disagree? And so, like I said, we all have our opinions. When you start getting into the realm of exclusion,
Mm-hmm.
that you forfeit the right to call yourself great,
I mean,
or is
I,
it just strategy and tactics?
far so like you talking like how he moved.
When I say how he moved, like the fights he picked, the contracts he into, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I classify him as moving funny. Under that, I say he's a strategist. He's when you enter into boxing,
Mm-hmm.
how you enter is how you are during your career and how
Mm-hmm.
you end your career. For an example, I'm one of those people who think Pacquiao cheated. He just
Okay.
was
Yeah.
successful at it. And why I think that? Because a lot of reasons. I know for I'm gonna say for a fact, maybe 99.9%, this is a fact. When you reach the age of maturity,
Mm-hmm.
your head does not grow.
Well,
It
hey,
doesn't,
yeah,
unless
yeah.
you're doing something. That's number one. Number two, Pacquiao has only thing he's admitted in regards to cheating was that when he first came into boxing, professional boxing,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't make the weight requirement. There's a minimum weight. I don't know if it's a maximum weight that you got to be, but there's definitely a minimum weight. And I think it's about 105 or 106 pounds. He weighed 99 pounds as an 18-year-old, intern boxer. So when he got on the scale, he had several shorts on, socks, and he put rocks in his pocket.
Damn. Now I didn't know
He
that, Miss
admitted
T.
that. Now, can I find that? No. I mean, I heard it, and I said it's neither here or there. Plus, just human body naturally. What makes Pacquiao one of the greats is that he went through 8 different weight classes, housing motherfuckers, ain't put on fat, all muscle, and it looked natural. It kind of looked natural, like yeah, he could have been that size. But if you think about, Filipinos, they're small people by nature. If you was if you was under 100 pounds at 18, what makes me think that at 25 or 26, 33 or 35 that you're going to be 147 all muscle? Why would I think that? Who does that work for anybody else? The fact that you can't even name somebody else, maybe in our era that walked through weight classes like that. Because as you get bigger, you lose something. He didn't lose anything. These are the reasons why I say he was a successful cheater. He may never admit it, but this is probably why Floyd was pushing the drug testing and all this. But his head definitely, even if I disregard the body mass or the weight that he put on that was all muscle and the fact that he never lost any abilities, whether it's agility, reflexes, or anything, moving up in weight, the head gets it for me. You know what I'm saying? So when you start strategizing in a way that gives you leverage and advantages, can you call yourself the great? That was kind of like my question. No matter how you strategize, no matter what the strategy is, it could be from the picking of opponents, the contracts you sign, the leverage that you feel that you have to get. That was kind of my question. Oh, okay. The young had a call. Um, Super Bros X, welcome to the building. Was Papa King? He said Pac Man never cheated. Laugh out loud. Floyd was just scared. Laugh out loud. Yeah, he did. Super Bros. I put the link in the chat. I'll put it in. You can explain. I'll sit back and listen. I'll sit back and listen. Um, Ricky Williams said, "No, you can't. No, you can't. What, sir? Clarify." I put the link in the chat again, you guys. You can come in and let me know. I'll sit back and listen. Because, like, you can't tell me your hair grows after maturity, after puberty and all that. It just doesn't do it. And you the only one in the world that happens to? No, it just doesn't work like that. Just doesn't work like that, y'all. I'm sorry. So, can anybody answer that question? When you strategize, and don't get me wrong, strategy is not illegal. It's not illegal. But when you have to strategize to give yourself leverage and advantages, can you call yourself the great? A great one. Ricky Williams say you can't be great. You're avoiding the pitfalls. Exactly. Now, if Canelo became a vegan, again, like I said, from my understanding, he's been a vegan for a while, so he cannot use this as an excuse. And I find it funny how people like, even in his crew, the Reynuso crew, they like to point the finger at certain things, and make other people the scapegoat. Like I'll use Oscar Valdez, for example. We know that he got caught with fentanyl. Now, fentanyl is not something you can go pick up off the street. I don't know anybody from when I was growing up or even now where you can just go score some fentanyl. That is a prescribed drug, right? So if it's in your system, you put it there. Number one, he pointed to T, but where he stopped at is naming the T. Now, people all over the world, T is a big cash cow crop like cotton. People in the UK love tea. People in the Asian continents love tea. It ain't nowhere in the world you could go where tea is not a hot commodity. You got people who work in in the field of tea, whether they're growing it, picking the leaves, processing it at the plant, putting it in bottles, soft drink companies. And you're fucking with people's livelihoods, you're fucking with their brand, the companies who put out the product of tea. So for him, he was very fortunate, or maybe somebody got to him and said, "Hey, don't name nothing," because he did not ever name the tea he was drinking. If I was a tea company, I would have sued him so bad that every fight that he had, he would basically be paying me. You know what I'm saying? So he was lucky that way. And so but he tried to put the black eye on the T, and that's unfortunate. When Canelo got caught with clenbuterol, yeah, he got exonerated later, but it don't negate the fact that it was in his system, and it should not have been in his system. So what did he did? He point the finger at the local taco stand or whatever and all that stuff. But he didn't name a specific taco stand. And we all know Canelo got enough money, the money that he makes in America. Oh my God, he might as well be Bill Gates in Mexico. He could have got himself a cow farm or a beef farm and made his own meat. You know what I'm saying? And that way he ain't got to go through it. It's not like he didn't know that people have said this excuse years before he even came into the league. How they try to blame the meat in Mexico. I mean, this was an old excuse, and yet he did it. Y'all remember a while back when Oprah? I don't know if she was going, because Oprah teeter-totter with the weight thing and all that. And I don't think that she was going on this campaign to go against me. I can't remember all of it because I was very young when this happened. But she had to move her whole show from Chicago to Texas because she was in litigation big time. Them meat dudes was coming after her. Them cow farmers, man, they was coming for her neck because they felt like what she said fucked with their brand. And Oprah said it might as well be gospel. I don't know about her how people feel about her now, but back then she crossed all lines, race, culture, religion, whatever. If Oprah said it, that shit you could take it to the bank. Motherfuckers took her shit as gospel, and the meat companies felt like, oh, you trying to fuck us up, you trying to fuck up our livelihood. And I don't think that she came out that situation scarred up real bad. I don't know if she settled out of court, but I don't think nothing really happened to her that knocked her off her square, so to speak. Ricky said you can buy it in Mexico from the pharmaceuticals. Oh, okay. See, there you have it. You know what I'm saying? So pointing the finger, inadvertently giving innocent bystanders, whether they people or companies or whatever, the black eye is not the way to go. It's not the business. So even though we thought Canelo had some humility at the end of the fight from what he was saying, and I know people made the joke that you knocked the English out of him. He didn't really know what to say. He was being strategic then. But what he did do in the time that it took to walk to the locker room, get his shower, get his check, get checked out by the doctor, come to the post press conference. Once he got to the post press conference, he came with the excuses. So I can't even give him a solid for that. I can't give him a solid because he came with the excuses. And there's a few of his fans, like E Thriller, who called it like he's seen it. We should all be objective like that, like E Thriller did when calling the fight. I mean, he said Canelo got his ass whooped, but a lot of people can't say that. I don't know why. I don't know why. You put him in there with somebody who can really box and be on his toes, he's not going to win. Probably. If you can get past his power punches or whatever. And, it makes me think if somebody was doing it the more so ideal way, I ain't going to say correct way, because I don't know any fight. I would not bet my house on the fact that if you had somebody walking around at 200, but they could easily make 147 without fainting like Jaime Munguia or, putting their life in danger, like they wouldn't do it. That's a strategy. It's not illegal to do that. So I want to be clear with that. It's not illegal to do that. And a lot of people, if they could do it, will do it. It's just not ideal and it's not realistic. But Canelo could do it. He could do it. So he's more, to me, that's why I say he moves funny. I'm not gonna say he cherry picked. Was he exposed? He been exposed. Trout exposed him. Mayweather exposed him. Lara exposed him. He been exposed. Hell, Caleb Plant exposed him. If Caleb could have held out, was Caleb gonna win that fight? Nope. Because Canelo has favor. This is the problem with favor. This is the problem with penalizing your favorite fighter for no reason. Because that fighter will lose grip on reality. That fighter will gain a sense of entitlement that they shouldn't have. All of us now is experiencing that. We got a whole generation of children, whether they grown or not, or almost grown, that has this sense of entitlement. And the shit be driving me crazy. I don't know about y'all. I be like, where does this shit come from? Because when we were young, shit, we ain't had that. We ain't had those notions in our head. But you got a whole group of people, American or not, that has this sense of entitlement. But that come from when a society penalizes you and put you up on a pedestal and make you think you could do no wrong or you could do whatever you want. And he's kind of doing it, I'm going to say, as backwards, with his career. But hey, if they let him do it, then they're letting him do it. It's nothing, you can't fault him. I mean, you have an opportunity to get 40 million fight. Why you not gonna take it? Now the other thing I wanted to ask, now it's known that he signed this deal, this 3-part deal Ray New Sartorius is in the building with Bobby King. He said, hello, Queen. In the chat in the panel, he got beat the fuck up, Miss T. He sure did. So I want to talk about the purse. And then I'm talking about it after the fight. Y'all ain't really hear me talk about it before the fight. So I'm talking about it after the fight. And I think I pulled this up because I don't want to talk outside of my neck. Let me see. Let me see. I thought I had it. Let me see if I can find it. You know, and y'all explain this shit. Okay. Let me bring it back up. So y'all explain this shit to me. 15 million. They are reporting that Canelo will earn a guaranteed 15 million purse for the fight and will claim 70% of the pay-per-view sales. Meanwhile, Bivol is guaranteed 2 million and will receive up to 30% of pay-per-view sales. The Canelo Bivol card will cost existing DAZN subscribers $59.99 in addition to their usual DAZN subscription costs. Now, look, the thing that I heard was that he signed this 3-part deal, 3-fight deal, where he can earn up to 160 million. Up to can be 99 cents all the way up to 160. That's how I read that language. But the 160 sound good, don't it? So if he was guaranteed 15 million, and you really can't qualify or quantify pay-per-view sales until after this done. So yes, he got a big share of the pay-per-view, 70%. So what if 100 people bought it? What if 100,000? What if 1,000,000 people bought it? I mean, that's why you can't qualify or quantify it until it's done. Sure, he could get a lot of money, but I thought that he was getting, close to 160 or whatever. Just pretty much on the guarantee part. I didn't think that they was including the pay-per-view. I could be wrong for that assessment or that thought. What do you guys think? But if he got a guaranteed of 15 million, somebody break it down for me, or explain in a way that we could be like, oh, okay, how he's going to get close to 160 for them to even say it. Also, I'm going to keep the same energy. Now, we have heard recently that Spence, PBC wanted to get a fight with Canelo, was offering him, what was it, 55 million to face Spence or somebody else, Charlo, I don't know, or Benavidez, whatever, up there like 45 or 55 million, whatever. And, we have said that if Spence took that deal, which he was willing to do, and Canelo had signed off on it will put Spence down for ducking once again to Bud, but it will also be understood because who wouldn't take that sweepstakes? Nobody could begrudge Spence for taking that sweepstakes. The two can be true at the same time. You still would have been a person who ducked Bud, but who can begrudge you for taking the sweepstakes? So I said that. But when they were saying, Spence said, oh, you got to be at 164. And I was like, well, wait a minute, Spence. You are you're a hot commodity at 147. You are nothing in 160s. So you don't have the luxury or leverage to demand anything. You're coming up to him. So you want the sweepstake because he is the cash cow compared to everybody else. So you will have to come up to him and his level. So I'm going to keep that same energy. Canelo, you went to 175. That's Bivol country. That ain't your country. You did not land there and set up shop. You in and out, whenever you want to, just because you fought one other person, in Kovalev in 175, don't make you a 175 pounder because that's not your division as far as we know. So you coming into Bivol's country, and why would Bivol get 2 million and you get 15? Now people would say, but it's Canelo. Canelo makes this much when he fights. No, we gotta keep the same energy. Isn't Bivol the big fish in 175 compared to Canelo? Don't he have the hardware? Haven't he fought more 175 pounders than Canelo? Canelo is a visitor. So either, I get it. Canelo is a big star and he gets paid a lot. They should have had the same wage guarantee. I don't get the disparity. But neither, it won't just me. Y'all can go back and look at several interviews that Bivol gave, and he said as much too. This time around, if he does the rematch, I'm going to have the leverage. So then you hear these narratives of, well, what if Bivol fight him at 168? Well, who's the king at 168? Canelo, right? So what if Bivol go in there and say, I should get the guaranteed 15 million and you should get 2 million? What would people say then? What would y'all say then? Y'all let me know in the chat. What would y'all say then? Because I can hear a lot of people saying, no, Canelo's undisputed. He's the big fish in 168, blah, 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 blah. But Canelo got beat by Bivol. So it's not just about the belts, is it? That's what I'm walking away with the notion of. It's not just about the belts. Apparently, it's about your popularity too. It's about a whole lot of other things than just the belts. We got to keep the same energy. How does that fight go? And of course, I don't want to see the person till after the fight, but I found that curious to me. I would have thought that this fight, I thought that he was going to be guaranteed 40 million or whatever, and Bivol would have got something more respectable than some fucking $2 million for him to be the actual 170-pound, 75-pound champion. Or that is his weight division. He not fiddle-dallying around and going up and down and this, that, and the other. He actually fights there. That's his home. And Canelo is visiting his home. But Canelo got the better end of the stick, even though he offers nothing. If Canelo would have won, he would have offered nothing. Yeah, I mean, he would have gained something, but he wouldn't have offered any. He doesn't offer anything. Bivol winning, he didn't gain anything but just the win. That's all he got. So how do y'all feel about that dynamic? The same way I said, if Earl would have actually had the opportunity to fight Canelo, it would be to Canelo's advantage, because he's coming in Canelo's house. I just find it curious and just weird that way, that they could even have something like that. But the 15 million doesn't get, in my mind, nowhere near 160. I don't even know how they get close with that number. Even if the pay-per-view was spectacular, I don't see how they got. But overall, it was a good fight. Bivol stood his ground. He kept on his toes, and he showed that a complete boxer can beat any type of boxer. Is the advantages that another boxer can have who's not more of a complete boxer will be his power and his will to win, and the warrior-like spirit that he has, because you can't train those. You know what I'm saying? So when Canelo was pouring it on thick and coming at Bivol real hard, his strategy was to hit the mom so he could drop it. It's, tire him out, because when you get hit, you do get tired. And hopefully Bivol was going to stay stationary enough for him to get his rocks off. But Bivol wasn't having any of that. He kept moving around. He was on his toes. He stuck that jab out. He had his chin tucked in. He had a good guard, and he didn't let him getting hit in the arm faze him. I think Bivol's strategy right now is make sure he's on everybody's tizoo to show, this arm punch didn't hurt. But shit, back home, he probably icing that motherfucker like a mug, just probably popping the pain pill like crazy, because that shit looked like it hurt. And Canelo was hitting him on the elbows and arms. But we know Canelo does that all the time. And he does that with fighters that's difficult for him, even though he strategically picks the ones that he think he may have leverage over them or whatever. So I don't call it cherry picking. I call it more strategy. I call it. I'm saying for me, he moves funny, um, and that's how I classify it. But he moves funny in the way of strategy, in a way that gives himself leverage and advantages over people. Eventually, if you keep narrowing those words down, keep going down the list, you're going to arrive at something like avoiding fighters or cherry picking or this, that, and the other. So I'm not ever mad at nobody who says that. I'm just saying for me, I like to leave it at moving funny because I feel like that's how he came into the league. He was moving funny because I promise you, you're not going to look at somebody that size naturally and tell yourself, well, you need to drop 40 or 50 pounds. Realistically, you're just not going to do that. So that's all I have. I mean, it was enough. I'm going to try to this whole week because I think we got Brian. Let me look at the list that's coming up as far as the fights that we're going to be seeing pretty soon. Oh, let me correct something because here at Boxing Fans Talk TV, we do corrections, and I'm woman enough to say it. Now you've heard me say a couple of times that boxers have to register their hands, and I had good reasons for saying that. So let me just correct that wrong, and I apologize, but I'm going to correct. And I found this inadvertently, so I said, let me come on here and correctify myself. Do boxers have to register their hands? Let me actually, can y'all see it? Okay, yeah, y'all can see it. Do boxers have to register their hands? Professional boxers do not have to register their hands as lethal weapons. There isn't any governing body or law that requires it, but the hands of a boxer could be considered a deadly weapon in a court of law if they are used to inflict serious harm. Are boxers' hands considered weapons? A boxer's hands could be considered lethal weapons in a court of law if used to inflict serious damage to another person. But in general, a boxer does not need to register their hands as lethal weapons because there is no law requiring it. I'm sure, like me, you agree that the hands of a professional boxer are pretty lethal. But do boxers have to register their hands, registering parts of your body as lethal weapons? Isn't true. It's a myth. Where did this myth come from? The first one is Joe Louis. Who the somebody say who the hell is Joe Louis? Joe was a heavyweight boxing champion and was one of the boxers of his time to bring a police officer to the weigh-ins and have his hands registered as deadly weapons before the fight. It was a big publicity stunt and it worked. We're still using this idea today, even though it's a complete myth. World War II. In second place, this myth comes from is post World War II in Japan because of the backlash against Japan, where martial arts were practiced. There was a complete ban of martial arts. Not only that, but known martial artists were logged in records to keep an eye on them and stop them from practicing. So there isn't any truth to any boxer or martial artist needing to register their hands as lethal weapons. A mix of publicity stunts and hearsay has kept this myth alive. Can your hands, though, be classified as a deadly weapon? If you have a high level of skill in using your hands to inflict damage, then they could be considered a potentially deadly weapon in a court of law. Any experienced boxer or martial artist could suffer the wrong end of the law if they inflict serious damage. We've answered the question, do boxers have to register their hands? Which is resounding no, but they still could be classified as weapons if they are used as there have been examples of court cases where a boxer has been convicted of a crime for using their hands as a deadly weapon. And then they say in Texas, an experienced martial artist was found guilty of aggravated assault due to their experience with their hands. So I just wanted to correct that. I ran up on it and inadvertently, sometimes when I'm sitting here doing research or just being on the web, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and correctify myself. I apologize for putting out bad juju. I really did thought that it was like that. But it's basically a resounding no. You do not have to register your hands. But if you show that you got skills, like anything else, if you was driving your car and all of a sudden your brake lines was loose or something, and they found that what happened with your brake lines or whatever, like you ain't have no brakes, the first thing they gonna see is if it was tampered with. If you say, oh, you know what, last month I had my brakes and everything worked on, and they were like, where? What shop? And then they come to find out that you had like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend that worked at that shop or knew people in that shop. And then, the motives. I mean, they could make a mountain out of a molehill, because they like, yo, these brakes was tampered with, and you having a shop where you work on brakes. Why didn't you see it? Why didn't you correct it? You're not gonna tell me that escaped you. That escaped your mind. You was oblivious to it. So much like that, that's how I'm reading it. If you have a skill where you can really hurt people, because if you into martial arts or into boxing, you pretty much know how to hurt somebody really, really bad. You know where to hit them. You already have rules in boxing that said you can't hit in certain areas, and that's for a reason, because you can make people damn near like paraplegics or fucked up for life, if not kill them. And I can tell you, just from taking karate, the first time I broke boards, and I was 11 years old, and I had a karate instructor that slow walked us. I won't in like one of these karate classes you see all these kids do just for fun, and 2 months they're a yellow belt, and not. Nah, I was a white belt for a year and a half. This man slow walked us, and he worked the shit out of us. And one day we was doing a performance, and I thought that me and my brother, we were the only kids in there, and I thought that he may call us to do I call it a dance. I forgot what they call it, but like you just sit there and you do your dance or whatever with your hands and all that. And of course, I'm from that generation. We grew up watching karate movies and shit every weekend. So I was shocked when he said, "Come on up." He said we're breaking cement blocks and we're breaking boards. I'm just sitting there like, oh, he ain't calling, he ain't talking to me. I'm 11 years old. I weigh probably like 95 pounds soaking wet. I'm 11 years old. I don't even know how much I weigh. I didn't weigh much. I ain't thinking this man gonna call me. But for that last 8 or 9 months, this man has taught me how to hit through stuff. I mean, that he was explaining the concept. We practiced. He had them little pads that he'll hold up, and he would tell me how to yell as I'm hitting it. He would tell me, imagine my hand on the other side, and he would be like, when you hit it, you gotta. It's just a way you hit. So when he called me up, and my brother was 3 years younger than me, so he was like 8. He called us up, and the crowd was like, whoa, because I was this teeny itty bitty, and my brother was this short shit. So he called us up, and we get in the crowd. It's like, oh, what these kids gonna do? And I be damn, we broke through them bitches. That was the first time in front of everybody. I had no idea. So I could tell you that, when you learn these skills, you can learn how to hit people where you can do some pretty good damage. You can do some good damage where it can be life threatening for somebody on the receiving end. So yes, when you get up in court, you can't feign ignorance. I ain't know, Your Honor. I ain't know I hit him that hard. They can be like, no, you meant to hit him like that. So that's manslaughter. You see what I'm saying? So no, you don't have to register. And I apologize for putting out the bad juju. But now that I corrected myself, we can move forward. Thank you guys for coming in and watching. I have put the link in the chat. I probably lost some of you because I was on the road. I apologize. But anyway, if y'all have something to say or add to whatever I just said, feel free. I'll sit back and listen. Maybe you might see it a little different. I welcome all opinions. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Lean on that leasy when you step into the heezy. Hit that like button when you step into my square circle. I come on Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. to whenever I'm going to end. And hey, thank you for joining me. Until the next time, I don't see any callers going once, going twice. Peace.